to you or done a video. Lisa and I get so used to all the garbage that's been going on with St. Luke's and the bankruptcy and all that, that we basically, in a way, kind of get used to it. But when it comes to our children, then, we get really defensive. And last Saturday morning, my son, Hayden, and he's the one that just got home from a LDS mission in Washington, D.C., actually, believe it or not. He was there for 2 years, and he got home in November, and he's been working hard and saving up to go to college. He's registered with BYU, Idaho, and he's going to be starting in September. And he's been, working, doing all kinds of things, and including buying and selling, flipping basically vehicles. And he's been working, helping me with doing the brakes. And anyway, he's just been doing really good. He's such a good kid. He's such a good boy. I shouldn't say boy, I want to say boy, but he's really a man, a young man. And anyway, Saturday morning he calls me, and I could tell his voice was like kind of a little distraught. Not too bad, because he's a pretty put together person. But he calls me and he says, "Dad, my bank accounts are all zero. There's nothing in them." And of course my heart just sunk. I'm like, oh no, because I'm immediately thinking that it has to do something with, with this whole bankruptcy garbage or the lawsuit and St. Luke's. And, but I, couldn't, they would bring him into it again. And if you remember, right before his mission, St. Luke's and their fine attorney, Eric Stidham, seized his bank account then and took all his money that he was saving for his mission. And now he's telling me that his bank accounts are all at zero and they're frozen. He can't do anything. And I just was sick about it. So he calls the bank. It's Saturday. He does get a hold of somebody. And all they could tell him is, you're going to have to call the CFO on Monday. And his name is David Duncan. You're going to have to call him on Monday. And then they did tell him that it was court ordered. And that's all he knew. So he has to go, he went through the weekend. And then Monday comes around today. And he calls the bank. And they connect him to this CFO, David Duncan. And David Duncan says that it was started by a letter and a court order that was initiated by St. Luke's. And so he began to talk to him about, what was the cause? What is the justification for them taking his account? Because he has no association with us financially. He doesn't live with us anymore. He's completely financially independent. He takes care of all of his own bills and makes his own money. And none of it's connected to us. And so he got talking to this David Duncan, and the CFO of State Bank of Southern Utah, David Duncan, said that, well, it was because you share, listen to this, it was because you share a post office box with your parents, with Ammon Bundy, who is listed, because you share a post office box. Now, the interesting thing is State Bank, just whenever they're told, they're given a letter and by Holland and Hart, St. Luke's, that they're supposed to seize this account. They do no fiduciary duties. They don't look into it. They don't nothing. And they just seize the account. And he did say this, David Duncan actually said, and we have it recorded, he actually said that He spoke to the attorney at Holland and Hart, St. Luke's attorney, and the St. Luke's attorney, and they both acknowledged that Hayden was not party and listed as party, and they both acknowledged that, but they still seized the funds anyway and froze the accounts. And, you know, there's a huge lesson here. And that is we the people, you know, we hardly have any protections, especially over our finances. Because these banks, we think that they're going to do what is right. We think that they're going to protect our assets. That's the whole reason why I use a bank. There's only two reasons why I use a bank. It's for convenience of transferring money, funds, and for security. And I've seen it over and over again that basically there is no protections. These damn banks and these damn bankers, just like this David Duncan and all, they'll just do whatever they're told. And they won't do any duty. They won't take any responsibility or push back on anything. And so your finances are not protected in State Bank of Southern Utah or any other really bank. I mean, maybe there's some banks out there, and I hope there is, that will actually say, no, this person is not party to this. This is, and actually go to their attorneys or actually look at the law, because the law is very clear about this matter. And that is, the law basically says that a P.O. box is not a sufficient nexus to connect individuals with finances. And that's just the way the law says. It can't be used for that. Yet it was. And now my son, basically, well, he has no bank account. If you go to his bank statements, you go online, it says zero available. And this was, again, St. Luke's has done this to my son. And they've been doing all kinds of stuff to us. I won't even get into it. Over the last several months, it's been really crazy what they've been doing. And for the most part, I just always think that, you know, no one really cares, and people are probably tired of me talking about it, so I don't talk about it. But when it comes to my son and his future and everything that basically he's worked for since he's been home, he got home in November, and he's saving, you know, he has things, you know, he has, like, for example, he has to make a deposit for his housing when he goes to school. He has to take care of several financial things. And he has a credit card that he uses, and basically to build his credit. And he has a payment tomorrow. And he can't make that payment, you know, unless somebody borrows him money or somehow he is able to get that in another way. And even at that, how do you do that without a bank account? And it's just a terrible thing. And I don't understand how this hospital, who is supposed to be and constantly is portraying themselves as a charitable organization that helps family and children, how they could possibly do this to my son and try to associate him and his finances with me and then use that to try to hurt him. I just can't understand it. And again, I emphasize that the attorney and the bank discussed this, and we have it recorded, discussed this before they did it, knowing that Hayden was not party, knowing that he was not listed on the lawsuit, and they did it anyway. This is St. Luke's Health System, Holland and Hart, and State Bank of Southern Utah. And then my poor son now, what does he have to do? He has to basically try to go through the whole legal process. And are they going to fight him? Just like they're fighting me, trying to stop me from going bankruptcy? Are they going to actually fight him in the courts to stop him from getting his own money when he has no party, and he has no finances really to even fight them. What's he going to fight? This big multi-billion-dollar corporation with this billion-dollar law firm? My son, who's you know saving to try to go to a college, it's just wrong. It's wrong. And anyway, I may need your help because I'm not going to let up on this. I'm not going to just be silent and walk away. If it was happening to me, I'd probably say well, it's another thing that's happened to me. But it's happening to my son, and I'm not going to just let it happen. So I might call on you to help me, to make some phone calls, to try to straighten this out. But I mainly just wanted you to know about it and understand that our finances, and if they want them, they'll take them. And the institutions that we trust to protect our finances, like State Bank of Southern Utah, terrible, because I have a relationship with them from a long, long time ago. But they're just going to do what they're told by some law firm or some court. And this judge, I can't remember his name, I don't know, Lundrow or something like that. He just issues whatever St. Luke's wants, just whatever. They're not going to protect either. So, the people are pretty exposed. And I think the only protection we're going to find is the protection that we give ourselves. But it's pretty hard in the world we live in. Anyway, you've probably heard enough of me, so I'm going to let you go. I just wanted you to know this. I want you to share it and be maybe watch us a little closer here. So if we need your help, we'll let you know. Thank you.